When I was first approached by Lebrix to look at some of their Lego but not Lego sets, I thought to myself, yeah, why the hell not? I've not done anything like this since I was about 10 years old, so what's to lose? The first few offerings were of absolutely no interest to me whatsoever, but when I saw their Type 7 World War II German U-boat, I was immediately smitten because I absolutely love that vessel. Ever since I saw it for the first time in Raiders of the Lost Ark back in 1981, and then later on in Das Boot, a little bit of side trivia here, but they're both one and the same prop, I've been utterly fascinated with it, and I instantly had an idea on how I could approach all this. With some additional pieces bought from elsewhere, why don't I customize it into an Indiana Jones playset? Seems like a good idea, right? Well, if you like the idea too and want to recreate it for yourself, then stick around as I'll show you exactly how I went about this. So the main focus of this project is of course the U-boat set itself, and you can purchase this through Lebrix for about £205. And even better, if you purchase it via the link that I've provided in the description and use the coupon code of PBProps, you'll get 18% off, which is rather nice. Anyway, when mine arrived, I was not only shocked by the sheer size of the box that it came in, but also the weight of it too. It was a little over 5 kilos, or just a tad over 10 pounds if Latin is your preferred weight measured system. Either way, for what it is, there's some serious gravity going on here. Now don't ask me how or why, as I just don't have an answer for you, but it was only when I opened the box and saw all the bags containing approximately 4,000 tiny little ABS bricks inside did it actually occur to me that it would come in this disassembled state. And not only that, but I'd have the monumental task of putting this 140cm long or 4'7" behemoth together. If you think that's daunting, then just take a look at the manual. That's a seriously weighty looking tome going on right there, one of biblical proportions. Thankfully there's not many words in here, in fact there are no words at all. It's just hundreds of handy little illustrations spread across 315 pages of detailed instructions, which is just the way that I like it. Right, given that this is effectively just Lego, there's not too much to it in terms of construction technique that I can share with you, as it's just sticking one block on top of the other in the right order. So, in that light, I'm going to pretty much time-lapse all of this. That said, there is one mildly irritating problem with the design of this set that I do want to raise with you, because I will have to deviate from the instructions for a short period when I come to address the issue. And that's this. Hold your horses, before we get on to what I feel is slightly wrong with the design of the main vessel, I've now come across a slight issue with these bags of bits. All of the main bags are numbered. It looks like it goes from 1 through to 9 or maybe 10. And once you open up the bags, they are numbered. So here's 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 and so on. But it doesn't actually seem to match what's going on in here. So I don't know whether all of these bags are in a particular order like they were on the manta ray and the spider, or whether it's just random stuff. So that's marginally irritating. I'm sure there is a system to it, I just need to work it out. But let me show you what's wrong with, in my opinion, the design of the actual submarine. Earphone listeners, mind your ears. So here we have the manual, and I'm going to just quickly go to page 66, I think it is. Bear with me. 65. So here is the layout of all the internal rooms, and I don't like it. I'll show you why. So let's just orientate ourselves, shall we? So this is the back of the vessel, and this is the front, and we have our 4 rooms. Now, from the back it goes torpedo room, the bridge, the mess or the galley or the kitchen, and then the engine room. Now, mainly it's this bit. There are torpedo tubes front and rear, but you kind of expect on a submarine for them to be at the front. So what I want to do is take the engine room and move that to there, this to here, and I will have to mirror it in the actual build. However, here, and I'm not entirely sure if you can see it in the details, but on the bridge here, on this bit up at the top is the periscope. Now, I may put a picture up and show you this, but otherwise I'll just describe it. When this is all together, this periscope is off-centered to the main periscope on the outside of the ship, and it looks completely wrong. It should really be there. So if I move this room and mirror it to here and put this room there, so this will obviously come to here, and that will put it in line with the periscope on the outer turret, what's it called, conning tower. So that'd be quite good. And having this mess stroke galley here, I'm not going to add in any of the cookers or anything like that. I'll actually make it as a hold. So that would just make more sense to me. So yeah, I think to me this would look just nicer if it was laid out in the way that I want to. So I'm going to have to slightly build it differently, and I'm going to have to mirror quite a lot of what I'm doing here. But you'll see as I go along. Before we go into the time lapse, I am going to have to quantify that I think I've worked the system out with my wife. We both had a look at this. It does seem to be done in bags, but it doesn't tell you which bags are what. So it's just in this lump of bags are all the parts you need, and you've just got to find them. So okay, that's fair enough. So I'm going to use my wife's puzzle trays, and I'm going to empty the contents of each of the sub bags into this and just build it as we go along, because that is apparently what you're doing by the looks of it, but I shall find out. Anyway, should we do some time lapsing? I think so, because it means less talking. Well, so much for my fantastic plan of rearranging the rooms. I quickly discovered as I was building it that it won't work. Now, the reason why I thought it would work is because I stupidly assumed that all of these rooms are exactly the same size, but they're not. Now, when you put this together, you have 4 removable panels, one on this side, one on this side, one over here, and one over here. Now, those panels have to lock onto these bulkheads. Unfortunately, when I had this over here and that here, and I quickly worked out that, frankly, those panels were going to completely miss these bulkheads. It would hit that one, but it would miss this one. So I've basically had to undo everything that I did yesterday, well, in terms of the rooms, and do it by the book. So, yeah, I thought I was being clever. I still stand by my reasoning why I wanted to do it, because I do think the design is wrong. However, I'm going to have to, as I said, go by the book and build it as directed. I'm still not going to have this as the kitchen. I think that's a rubbish idea. It is going to be a hold. So these things that were the ovens, I'm going to have them as like little lockers. There will be something going in here. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to carry on doing this, and hopefully it'll turn out rather nicely, but we'll see. There's something rather joyful in putting together a set like this because it's not discriminatory. And by that I mean you don't need specialised skills or knowledge to assemble it other than the ability to follow some very simple pictorial instructions. The end result leaves you with a rather beautiful and highly detailed model in, of course, brick form. In terms of difficulty, it's not that difficult at all. In fact, if you can put away your weekly shopping, then you can certainly handle this task. For the LEGO purists out there, and I know there's quite a lot of you, then never fear, this set is not only compatible with the genuine LEGO, but the quality of the plastic bricks are on a par with that brand as well, to the point that there's virtually nothing in it. I carried out a blind test on some of my family members by giving them some genuine LEGO pieces and parts from this set, and not one of them could tell them apart, which is a really good sign. Overall, I thoroughly enjoy putting this U-boat together, and I genuinely do think that the set's designer, the King of Bricks, has captured the spirit of this type of submarine perfectly, and for what it is, you certainly get a lot of real estate for your investment. And if you want to turn yours into an Indiana Jones themed set like I did, then it's all very simple to achieve. All of the minifigures can be obtained through eBay for about £3 each, though Marion Ravenwood herself did come in at 3 times that price for some reason. Maybe it's because she's a rare variant or some such, I just don't know, but I had no trouble in finding her. As for the Ark of the Covenant itself, well, I bought all of the component parts through the official LEGO store, and then followed Sir BuildsAlot's simple instructions that I found on the Rebrickable website. I'll leave a link to his excellent guide down in the description. So if you're a fan of German U-boats or indeed Indiana Jones, then I'd highly recommend that you pick up this set for yourself. And if you do, then please be rest assured that lit bricks were a real pleasure to deal with, so I highly recommend them. However, I will leave you with one word of caution. The finished U-boat is bloody ginormous, and even filming it for this very review was a task in itself. And on that heavy but rather well endowed bombshell, thank you all so much for tagging along with me today, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, bye bye, and thanks for watching. All together now, we all live in a LEGO submarine, a LEGO submarine, a LEGO submarine.